very good.
Cool,
Can you hear me well?
awesome.
Yeah, it's the first time I'm doing a Skype interview, so I'm happy about it. It's kind of simple, so it makes more. Yeah, now I
Yeah.
feel like there's more I can do.
Okay, so the artwork behind you, you created that, did you?
Yeah, it's a new invention actually. I invented this technique, so
Yeah.
I think what's important is a lot of people don't know that water is invisible. We cannot see
Yeah.
water. So, and then I usually people just slap me in the face or shout at me like, "Yes, I can see it. I know it's over there." So there's this odd thing that but same thing happens. So let's say if you jump into the ocean and we dive, so I'll see you just like I see you right now, but then I'll see bubbles of air. Like suddenly it becomes visible,
Yeah.
and now I can see air in the same way that I can see water when I land. So is air not invisible now when we're in water? Like, can you actually see the air or you just know that it's there? So that's the case with water. We just know that it's there, but you cannot see water or clean water, clean, clear water. You can see through it. Like you see your fish in the aquarium, right? So what's between you and the fish? What does water look like? Yeah. So I keep asking people, what does water look like? They have no answer, yet they tell me they can see it. And it drove me mad. It's actually important. It's really important because life starts in water, and we have so many people in the science world. We claim that we know everything there is about life and how life started, yet we cannot see the medium that brought it to life. So how can we claim that? So to me, it's one of the biggest contradictions in life today. So yeah, so moving forward from that, when I started thinking about, so what does water actually looks like? How can you even see that? Because water takes the form of a vessel, right? Put it in a glass, it takes the form of the glass. In the valley, it's the shape of the earth, whatever it is. So I realized that for water to show itself, you have to see it moving, like wind moving, right?
Yeah.
So when the wind moves, if you put some dust in the air or some debris, you can see like a hurricane or a twister. It's very clear, the form. So in water, it's the same thing. You got to find something to put in water that will show you those forms. And that's what I invented. I invented a film that is liquid. So the film remains liquid in the water. So you can actually capture those moving forms in the water.
That is really cool. And then you get the most amazing photos. Are people shocked when you tell them it's actually like a photograph and not a painting inspired by water?
Right. Well, first they think I made it with like a computer software or I drew it,
Yeah.
and mostly people don't really get it. Like they
Yeah.
don't, it takes time. It really
Totally.
takes time to dive into it, to understand what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And I think more than that, a lot of times what they do is actually they think it's microscopic. So once they're like, okay, it's a photo. Okay, it's an
Yeah.
image of water. So it must be microscopic because it's so complex.
Yeah.
And people are not used to seeing that complexity in a scale of a glass of water. They'll
Yeah.
think it's so that's the second part that happens. I always have to tell them it's not a microscopic image. And then after I say that, they'll tell me, so you took it with a microscope, right? I just no, I just told you, no microscopes. It's real scale. It's real size.
Well, I think what you're doing is important because it's recognizing water as more than a commodity. It's
Yeah,
you know,
more
I think
more
that's
than an
really
element
important.
even.
What, sorry?
More than matter. Actually, what I'm
Yeah.
doing is categorizing water outside of the category of matter as we know it. And I think that's the main issue that we just kind of took it. It's like, okay, sand, rock, copper, iron, water, all together. And
Yeah.
that's not the case. My goal, I can tell you right now, the end goal of my whole life would be that we change our identity to one of water. So I am water. And
Yeah.
what does that mean? It means a few things. One is then water becomes a birthright. And water as a birthright is our number one fight into the future. because very soon energy is going to be free and water is going to be the most expensive thing on this planet. Now, not only it's going to be expensive, it's going to be in different qualities. So if somebody is poor and they can only drink certain kind of water that's not healthy, their kids will never stand a chance to be healthy and as successful as people that can drink healthy water. So I think in our future is really about privileges around water and access to water. So our only way to fight that is really to acknowledge our true identity of water, and then nobody can keep that away from you.
Yeah.
Because, like you said it. We are mostly water. What does that mean? Like in my body, as far as like a democracy, am I ashes and dust, or am I the water that's in my body?
Yeah.
And that's something important to think about.
Which would
We're
be
at the
sad.
beginning of a transition to privatizing water. So
Yeah.
governments now are not upkeeping the infrastructure, even though you're paying for that with your taxes. That's the first thing you pay for with your taxes, is to have access to water, electricity, utilities, basically. So now the governments are taking that money, they're using it to fight wars and do whatever they want to do, but they're running down the infrastructure of water, opening the space for those private companies to come in and sell you water for whatever price they want. And it's not even healthy water necessarily. It's in plastic bottles and it's whatever tap or filters they're doing. It's not
Yeah.
like they're bringing you the best water they can bring you. They just want the most money they can get out of you. That's all. I think there'll be a tipping point. I think there's something that's the nice thing about water. You
Yeah.
can't really hold it.
What was your first project around water?
I mean, this project for me started when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
That's when it started for me. I was searching for meaning. I was searching for, like, I grew up in Israel. So in Israel, they teach you the Bible. And the Jewish Bible, the way it ends, they tell you that God was so upset with us that he'll never talk to us again. And I was just like, like, I don't what, like, to me it was just like the worst news I've ever heard in my life, and I was just 8 years old. And I was just like, I don't accept that. I've never done anything wrong. I'll find God and I'll talk to him. I just don't accept that. So for me there was this search of finding that source of life, the movement of life, something that is beyond, something that's beyond the human story, because all of my life I've been detaching away from the human story, and that's what allowed me to be in that space of water. Like, life is water. There's no
Totally.
other form of life without it.
Yeah.
That just doesn't exist. There's forms of life that don't use oxygen, or they don't eat certain kinds of food or nutrition, or there's so many different kinds of life forms, but there isn't even one without water. So we have this very strange notion that the soul, the real me, is not tangible. Like when we die, I don't know what people think. They think they just go into the ether. While we actually can see with our own eyes what happens to your life, it leaves your body. That's the water leaving your body, going to the river, back to the ocean. So I think the biggest thing is to just consider that consciousness, the soul, is tangible and magical, like water. Like, people think like, yeah, there's something else, somewhere else, a spirit, a God, it controls it through things, where is the technology? Where is that happening? Who's doing that? And from where? So the reality is that actually, like, if we talk about this, like, consciousness is actually tiny, like water is tiny. They're tiny, tiny, tiny things. And that's why you have to go to a microscope to find out what's really going on this planet. And single cells are the key. Single cells are like single family homes. We're just a bigger version of that. So I mean, that's the biggest thing I would give people. Like, consider yourself, your consciousness, your true being has a real tangible symbol manifestation on this planet. And it's most likely, from my research, most likely 99.9% water.
Yeah.
That's most likely where it is. That's the space it's happening. We have a category where we say, okay, water is non-Newtonian, meaning water does not apply or behave in the same way the rest of matter does. Newtonian laws do not apply to water. So it's there. But again, people won't push on a controversial idea. what happened actually in the world of science is that they just made a whole new science instead of fighting the old guard, the old scientists. Now it's called quantum mechanics. So now you have a whole field of science that has nothing to do with the old laws. And they don't have to fight each other because it's a new. So in that sense, I think I'll just have to make a new world of the science of water because there is none of the science of water. Because
Yeah.
in a sense, it's the science of consciousness. I think that's why most people have not given up on religion yet, because science does not give enough replacement for the fact that we're conscious and alive.
Yeah.
So I think like people are ready, they want something else, but science won't give that. It's not there. It's not supposed to be there either. But we have so many scientists go around saying, well, consciousness doesn't exist, your brain is just neurons, you're a machine. None of this, consciousness is an outcome of the brain. It's a byproduct of the brain. I'm like, no, my whole body is alive. I'm
Mm.
not just my brain. I am my whole body. And so there's a lot of contradictions in science right now that just keep people away from it, actually.
Yeah.
And they just stick to their old notions of the soul and consciousness and each culture with whatever they have. But the science of consciousness is not the lab. It's not under the microscope. It's poetry, philosophy, psychology, art. That's the world of consciousness. That's the science of the psyche, of the consciousness. I just got a building that I'm gonna turn into a water museum in LA.
I'm definitely excited to see that. When it's finished, will you do like a video walking us around for the people in other
Oh yeah,
countries? Yes,
yeah,
good.
we'll do videos before. We'll do videos of the proposal, and then all the events will be live streamed from the
Oh,
museum.
cool.
So I mean, our goal is to be connected to
Yeah,
everyone all over,
that's so
and
exciting.
the physical space will be for classes, schools to do field trips and come and learn
Yeah,
basically about the most important element in life. But if you just take a few simple steps in making sure you're drinking, good water, you taking care of, I think it just creates a better connection between you, nature, you treat yourself better. I mean, it just sets you up for a better life
yeah,
if you understand that, if you live life from that point of view.
totally.
So we're aiming to, being mostly about education and doing that. And I think then that's part of why I'm in LA. Los Angeles is kind of a center for information.
Totally.
So when you drop a drop of information here, it can get very far and wide, and that's been happening, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. I knew you had books and things out, but I didn't know you were doing a museum. That's totally different. That's so big. What a big project.
On Blurb, we have a book, Faces of Water, and I actually recommend getting the book more than people sometimes buy the big artwork. We
Yeah.
print them on aluminum, but the book really gives you a body of work. Like you see a lot of images of water,
Yeah.
and when you go through a good amount, um, you start to see how water is responsible for all the forms and shapes that we know on this planet.
Yeah.
And it's quite incredible, from anything we know, anything you've ever seen in your life exists just in water.
Yeah.
Like people, animals, plants, all of those forms are basically derived out of water. So it's all basically liquid dynamics and manifestation of that. So I think when people see the book, they really dive into that. And then it's nice to sit a few people together, because when you look at an image of water, you will see a lot of things in it, and different people see different things. And you'll come back to the same image and you'll see something else next time. And it's really your mind, it's a field trip for the mind
Yeah.
if you have good imagination.
That's cool. Yes. Well, that is really cool. I definitely want to get a copy of that book, and I think everyone at home should get a copy as well.
For me, getting the building was a goal.
Totally.
So I worked very hard toward that specific goal. And that worked. That actually happened. So it's gotta know yourself.
That's really good advice. Gotta know yourself.
I personally believe that everyone should have a YouTube channel. everyone.
Totally, I agree.
It's just a way of communicating and expressing to the world where you are
Yeah.
and what you're doing. And technology is getting easier to do that too. It's getting so easy. So I think at some point we're all going to be broadcasted live all the time. So then who do you listen? What do you listen to? So it's really not about that. It's about finding what fits you
Yeah.
because everything is out there, everything.
Yeah.
You just up to you to find it. And so when somebody finds my channel and enjoys it, one person to me that's equal to, getting to 10,000 subscriber.
Yeah. Is there any other points we should cover before we part?
Um, no, I would say if you're open to that, we can just have another conversation sometime in the future
Yeah.
after we process all this.
I definitely think that's a great idea.
Then maybe some other questions will come up. And I would say just visit the website, spacesofwater.com. That's where you can see some of the images of the water and channel water.
Yay.
And
Thank you so much.
thank you.